Hey guys, I put together a compilation of all my hot takes on movies that I reviewed in 2024. So grab some popcorn, sit back, and enjoy. Hot Take Tuesday, New Year's edition. The 2023 film, The Shift. Ma just created my new favorite genre. The Shift is a modern day retelling of the story of Job from the Bible, and they've added sci-fi elements. If there's one thing I know, it's this. If Neil McDonald is in your movie, he's probably a bad guy. So basically, this man, Kevin, is taken from his world and his home and everything he knows by the benefactor in order to work for him. I'll grant 2 points to Gryffindor if you can tell me who the benefactor really is. Kevin refuses, and he gets thrown into an alternate dystopian future with my man Sam from Lord of the Rings here. Kevin has to figure out a way to travel through the dimensions to get back to the love of his life. I had a good time, but this movie definitely left me with some questions. Hot Take Tuesday! The 2023 Netflix movie Leave the World Behind is horrifying. And it's not because of the cyber attacks. And it's not because of the explosions in the cities. Or the threat of radiation. Or the paranoid neighbors. It's not even because of the spooky animals. This movie is scary because a grown man got lost on his way to the grocery store because he didn't have his phone or GPS. This isn't shade. This is concern. Between that and the self-driving cars, we're a hop, skip, and a jump from WALL-E, where technology does everything for us. Am I being dramatic? Perhaps. Hot Take Tuesday! He's All That could have been a fun popcorn flick. You know, if it wasn't for the bad writing, bad dialogue, and bad acting. If you're not going to improve upon an original, don't remake it. There were a couple of good ideas in here, ruined by clout chasing. TikTokers and influencers don't always translate well to a TV or movie screen. I'm not saying She's All That was Shakespeare, but the characters at least had some heart to them. Oh sure, let's throw in a Kardashian too. Extra credit for the dude actually riding in on a horse to romance the girl. The ex-boyfriend scenes were funny. The cameos were some of the best parts of the movie. Am I being too harsh? Nope. Hot Take Tuesday! Equalizer 3 was an awesome movie, but we don't need any more sequels. They already created a TV show with Queen Latifah, which is a remake of the Equalizer show from the 80s. I think we're good. I love the Equalizer movies, all 3 of them. But that's the problem. The deeper you dive into sequel territory, the lower in quality movies tend to get. Yes, there are always exceptions to the rule, but I'm not willing to risk it. Okay, I know it's Denzel. I know. But Equalizer 3 tied the movie up so perfectly, I don't want them to ruin it with a 4th one. That being said, if they made a 4th one, obviously I'm going to watch it. Duh. Hot Take Tuesday! The scariest villain in Batman Returns was Max Schreck. I know this movie had a crazy circus gang that was destroying property and wreaking havoc. I know Catwoman was out here coordinating a vengeful plot to frame Batman. And I know Penguin wanted to drown all the firstborn children of Gotham. But Max is the worst one. Why? Because his character actually exists. A greedy, corrupted millionaire who kills people, pollutes the environment, manipulates the media to his advantage, and through his power and influence, got Penguin into the running for mayor. And let's not forget he created Catwoman when he threw Selena Kyle out the window. You know what? Yeah, he is the real villain of Batman Returns. Hot Take Tuesday! The 2009 horror comedy Jennifer's Body is a perfect case study of how to know when you're in a toxic friendship. Do you find yourself always having to do the things that only they want to do? Do you have to be careful not to upstage them or look better than them? Do they constantly disregard your thoughts and feelings? Does every conversation have to be about them and their new dark powers? Do you have to watch them around your boyfriend or girlfriend because they might try to kill them and eat them? Well, guys, you might just be in a toxic friendship. And also, your friend might be a demon. Hot Take Tuesday! John Wick Chapter 4 showcases that the High Table is a great organization to work for. For starters, they are an equal opportunity employer. They don't care about your skin color or your background. They're not even fazed by any sensory limitations that you might have, like blindness. They don't discriminate. They're only concerned with your ability to get the job done. They offer travel and hotel accommodations in major cities and countries. You get to meet new and interesting people. Just don't get too attached. They offer bonuses and incentives for you to make more money. They don't micromanage you and allow you the space to harness your skills and grow. I see no downsides. Oof, retirement might be a little tricky though. Hot Take Tuesday. The 2024 action flick, The Beekeeper, has me convinced Jason Statham can make anything look cool. This movie could have been called The HVAC Installer, and he still would have made it exciting. He's a beekeeper who takes care of hives and harvests honey. And he assassinates people who take advantage of the weak. This dude is blowing up buildings. He's taking down entire SWAT teams solo dolo. He got grown men shook about the idea of a beekeeper coming after them. And all the bee puns, on point. Protect the hive. This movie even has bee safe houses. Okay, so I know he belonged to a government program called The Beekeeper full of assassins, but he's the one that made it cool. Hot Take Tuesday. The 2023 drama comedy movie American Fiction makes me want to read more books. Yeah, I know the main character is an intellectual, pretentious know-it-all. But to be fair, his name is Thelonious Ellison. Dude never stood a chance. But his passion for the art of reading is infectious. And he had some grade A insults that I think came from all that reading he did. Inspiring. His siblings did not enjoy reading as much as he did, but being around him kept them on their toes. If reading isn't your thing, make friends with a reader. They'll come in handy. Somehow. We're barely scratching the surface of this movie's thoughts on reading and culture, but I'll get to it. Hot Take Tuesday. Kung Fu Panda 4 should have been Kung Fu Panda 5. Let me explain. In Kung Fu Panda 3, Po became a teacher, found peace, and learned Chi. A fitting end to his story. But here we are, back with a new one. And instead of easing us into the passing of the mantle, we are slammed against a wall. I like the storyline, although the villain's tactics are too similar to the villain from the last film. And I feel like they didn't tap into the full potential of her superpower. And where's the Furious 5? Really a cameo with no lines? I like Awkwafina in this role. And Poe's two dads were kind of fun, but something was missing. I'm telling you, one more movie before this one would have sealed the deal. Hot Take Tuesday. The more I think about the 1999 film The Matrix, the more Cypher's villain arc makes sense. Just hear me out. You've got humanity trying to survive the AI takeover, and living conditions aren't pleasant. Cypher has been holed up in a ship for 9 years. We were going crazy after just 2 years of COVID, and we had access to fresh air. There were only 2 women on the ship, and neither one wanted him. The man had no love. Plus, it's always cold. I walk around in sweatshirts, and I live in Florida. And lastly, the food is garbage. That alone would have me raging. I'm not saying Cypher isn't a bad guy. I'm just saying, I get it. Hot Take Tuesday. Netflix's new TV series, The Last Airbender, does the Nickelodeon cartoon justice. The original is definitely a cartoon and not an anime. I looked it up. I know some of y'all are probably yelling at me right now, but the show is really good. For one thing, it's got Aang's name right. That's a huge improvement from what we were given in 2010. I still love most of your work, M. Night. I feel like some of y'all expect them to follow the cartoon scene by scene. It's live action, people. That would be too much. And technically, it's a different type of media. They nailed it with the casting and the character portrayals. I kind of feel like some of y'all were going to hate no matter what. But you know what? I ain't even going to hold you. Making a cartoon live action does not work for every situation. Hot Take Tuesday. I haven't truly enjoyed the Transformers franchise since the Shia LaBeouf era. You can make fun of me all you want, but let's not pretend that those movies weren't an experience. Shia's character, Sam Witwicky, was an awkward, fidgety teenager who we kind of related to, or at least liked. Even his parents were embarrassingly funny and adorable. And his girlfriend wasn't just the hot chick who was into cars. She had a vital role in the series. Shia and Megan had great on-screen chemistry. You had great robot designs, huge grand-scale set pieces, and the fights! Michael Bay was in his bag during this era. When Bumblebee updated his design by scanning another car, we all wanted one. Even the military dudes were not to be played with. It was exciting, light, and fun, and everyone seemed to be having a good time. Things went off the rails a little bit in the third one, but overall, I missed them. Hot Take Tuesday. Doom Part 2 really tried my boy Dave Bautista. They really had me fooled. This big, hulking, retired wrestler came on the scene to really wreck some stuff. But instead, he messes things up worse, throws a bunch of tantrums, and then whines about being replaced. And then he was talking all this smack to Gurney, only to get dropped within 10 seconds without throwing one punch. I was expecting him to bring the whole house down. Dude's first name is Beast. Survey says that was a waste. So disappointing. Hot Take Tuesday. The 1992 comedy fantasy horror film Death Becomes Her really highlights the thin line between love and hate. You've got two women, Madeline and Helen, who have been rivals since high school. We're talking spotlight hogging, boyfriend stealing level rivals. And the boyfriend stealing happened quite a few times. Fast forward to later, and Helen is out for blood. Literally. And the two women try to kill each other. But as fate would have it, they are able to set aside their differences. They realized all this bickering and vengefulness is beneath them. They even stopped fighting over the same guy. And they decided to spend their life taking care of each other. These are the kind of feel-good messages we need in our movies. Hot Take Tuesday. The 1994 action comedy The Mask really leaned into the phrase, nice guys finish last. Stanley Ipkiss is a bona fide nice guy. A little too nice. Kind of a pushover, actually. He had exclusive tickets for him and this lady to go to on a date. But she wanted to go with her best friend, so he let her just have the tickets. Oh, Stanley. And then you have this reporter who tells him he's a really nice guy after she sold him out to the bad guys. Ouch. The only woman in the movie that truly appreciated him was Tina Carlisle. Why? Because she has dated her fair share of bad boys, and she knows the outcome. Stanley may have been overlooked, but in the end, he got his girl. Hot Take Tuesday. The 2023 film Asteroid City should have been a slam dunk. It's a Wes Anderson film. The man is a heavy hitter in the directing department. He stacked this movie with a star-studded cast. It felt like half of Hollywood was in this thing. There were cameos like every 5 minutes. Dude must have been calling in all his favors. The setting was cool and had a unique color palette. You had a bunch of interesting characters and some fun dialogue. There were cool camera movements and angles. The man has a very specific aesthetic. And despite all of that, the premise just didn't hit it for me, and it was kind of hard to get through. I was ready to add this to my list of Wes Anderson faves. Maybe it'll be better on a second viewing. Hot Take Tuesday. I'm back. The Hunger Games may have been about a dystopian future where children fight to the death. But let's not forget the real lesson it taught us. How to build a loving relationship. You've got Katniss, a young girl with a heart of gold, wrapped in a tough outer shell, like armor, until she is thrust into the arena with Peeta, another dude from her district who knows the way to her heart. He gave her food when she had nothing to eat. He professed his feelings for her on live television. Some of y'all even post pics. He gave her plenty of compliments on her survivor skills. And he was willing to die so that she could win. Flowers and candy are nice, but finding a partner that makes you forget you have a Hemsworth at home pining for you? Priceless. Hot Take Tuesday. Wes Anderson's 2001 comedy drama The Royal Tenenbaums proves that redemption is possible at any age. You have a family of talented child prodigies, and it appears to be that everyone is flourishing. Except that the family patriarch, Royal, makes a bunch of bad parental decisions. He has a favorite child and doesn't hide it. Harshly critiques the written work of his adopted daughter, Margot. I know she's adopted because he mentions it every chance he gets. That's another point off. He stole a bunch of money from his not favorite child. Basically deserts them to be raised solely by their mother. And fakes having cancer to get shelter and sympathy. And even with all of that, once he realizes the error of his ways, he's able to work hard and get back into his family's good graces. We love a good redemption story. Stay hopeful, my friends. Hot Take Tuesday. The Saw series needs to end with Saw X. Because the movie is terrible? No. Quite the contrary. The movie was a great prequel to The Puppet Man. The movie tugged at my heartstrings, and I found myself feeling bad for Jigsaw. Jigsaw! They made him the anti-hero in this, and it worked. By movie 10, the jump scares don't do anything because you expect them. But there were surprises and twists that I did not see coming. And the games were methodical and gory as ever. And this movie, low-key, might be a metaphor in the American health system. It felt like the perfect conclusion to the franchise. They need to let it end on a high note and just walk away. But it made over $111 million over a $13 million budget, so they're not gonna. Hot Take Tuesday! The 1993 crime thriller, The Pelican Brief, missed a golden opportunity to get two hot people together. You have Julia Roberts in her prime. She was just coming off Pretty Woman and Sleeping with the Enemy. My girl was young and ready. And then you have Denzel Washington, the epitome of brains, charm, good looks, and he's a true gentleman. Julia got herself deep into some real conspiracy assassination type mess. People want her dead. And Denzel is the only one in her corner. They're working together to get to the bottom of things, and there are a lot of glances and tension. You can feel the heat. But nothing happens! Not even when they spent the night in the same hotel room. After hopping from place to place, collecting info, dodging killers, and uncovering the truth, all we get is a peck on the cheek and a hug. Are y'all serious? And don't even try to come at me about her dead professor boyfriend. It's Denzel. Hot Take Tuesday! The newest addition to the Hunger Games franchise, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, should have been split into 2 movies. They did it with Harry Potter, Twilight, The Hobbit. It's kind of their whole thing. The first half of the movie was about the Hunger Games and our introduction to a Mr. Snow long before he became president. The second half of the movie is about Snow getting banished to one of the districts where his dark nature starts rising. I probably could have worded that better. But the point is, it was a complete tonal shift. Peter Dinklage, who played Snow's nemesis when he got in trouble, says to him, "Finally, the sound of snow falling." That was such a great line. You literally could have ended the movie right there. I would have been so excited for the second part of Snow's journey, and you could have taken even more time to map out his villain arc. I also have some thoughts on Rachel Zegler's character, but I'll save that for later. Hot Take Tuesday! I love everything about the movie Tenet, except how dumb it makes me feel. Christopher Nolan knows how to turn out a great cinematic masterpiece. But does he have to turn my brain into jello to do it? Okay, so Tenet gives us a cool perspective on time travel. Except they call it inverted, or inversion. And things kind of work backwards, like bullets, cars, explosions, etc. If you are confused by what I have just said, welcome to the club. This is an action-packed, edge-of-your-seat ride with a plot that will leave you perplexed. Imagine you're a 3rd grader learning multiplication for the very first time, and then they drop you into a trigonometry class. That's what it's like watching this movie. At least for me. Hot Take Tuesday! I'm back. Quick heads up. Some of the things I'm saying are going to be spoilers. M. Night's 2024 thriller, Trap, is a masterclass in suspense. If you overlook a few tiny little details, like the fact that the police used 10,000 people as bait for a serial killer, or that a guy can push a lady downstairs in a crowded lobby and nobody see a thing, or how a stranger can meet with a famous singer all alone without security or an entourage, or how someone would volunteer to go to someone's house who they know is a serial killer, or that someone would just happen to have full SWAT gear stashed away in the underground tunnel of their house. Other than those few little things, perfect. Hot Take Tuesday! Beetlejuice hits a little different on a second watch. Like when you first see it, you're all hyped. Michael is back, Winona is back, Catherine is back, the gang's all here. Well, most of them. Others shall not be named. All the Easter eggs and callbacks were clutch. But when you start thinking, questions start coming. Like, why do some dead people have powers and others do not? If you're already dead, and then you die again, where do you go? Do you just get to choose your job in the afterlife? Because how did an actor become police chief? How are there this many shrunken head dudes working in the same office? If an event is live streaming and a bunch of ghosts show up, isn't that going to be a problem? Like, isn't this world supposed to be hush-hush from the living? Having all these intrusive questions kind of makes it a little bit harder to enjoy the movie. What about you guys? Hot Take Tuesday! The 2008 horror thriller Quarantine is a perfect film to help you decide what career path you want to choose, or the careers you want to avoid. For instance, I'm scratching cop off my list because I'm not trying to go into a strange house where strange things are happening. Firefighter ain't it either, because if you're biting me while I'm trying to help you, I'm punching you in the face. TV reporter is out too. I don't need to chase a story that's going to end up with me being the actual story. Not doing landlord either. That involves a lot of people coming through my building that I don't know. Scientist and vet definitely ain't making the cut. I believe if I leave nature alone, it'll leave me alone. Much love and respect to all these professions. I'm just not a good candidate. Hot Take Tuesday. If you take away the chaos, the vandalism, and the anarchy, Fight Club was a theological film with insightful advice to live by. Let me quote you some of the gems this movie has to offer. The things you own end up owning you. Powerful. It's only after we've lost everything that we're free to do anything. Now that's inspirational. You're not your job, and you're not how much money you have in the bank. Preach! Normal people do anything to avoid a fight. Okay, yeah, that's good advice, I think. Soap can be used to make explosives. Wait, what? Okay, I think we got a little off track here, so let's just relax. Hot Take Tuesday. If it's one thing that the movie Woman of the Hour has taught me, is that pretty privilege can get you far. And I'm not talking about the ladies. Turns out, a good-looking dude with a little bit of charm goes a long way. Like when you're not the brightest crayon in the box, but you can still go into the medical field and operate on people. Or be a complete schmuck who's super shallow and disrespectful and still have people rooting for you to get the girl. Or perhaps be a key person of interest in several criminal cases with a super weak alibi and still be able to skate by with no issue. And avoid a background check and make it onto national television. Or maybe you're just so good at what you do, the police can't catch you. Yeah. Yep. That's what it is. Hot Take Tuesday. The 2024 supernatural horror film Tarot is yet another example of why we should be minding the business that pays us. Seriously, if you're renting out an Airbnb and there is a locked door with the sign "Keep Out" on it, maybe you should keep out. And if you do ignore the sign and go in, maybe don't touch other people's stuff. Especially if it looks old, expensive, or cursed. If the owners have a basement full of old, creepy stuff, that tells me all I need to know. Pack it up. We are checking out tonight. If you got your grandmother telling you something is evil, believe them. They've survived this long for a reason. Some of y'all are just too damn curious for your own good. But for real, why is it so hard for some people to mind their damn business? Hot Take Tuesday. If the 2024 thriller Blink Twice has taught me anything, is that never trust a billionaire. It's basically common sense at this point. And it's not like we haven't had other examples backing this up. But having it laid out on screen brings it to a whole new level. So I've put together a list of suspicious things about a person that might get you the side eye from me. Number 1, owning your own jet. Is it because a commercial flight has too many witnesses? Number 2, owning your own island. How much space do you need and for what? Number 3, not answering direct questions. Huge red flag. Inviting strangers you just met to hang out with you for an unspecified amount of time. If you're not afraid of someone being a psycho, newsflash, you might be the psycho. Maybe I'm overreacting. Nah, better safe than sorry. Hot Take Tuesday. Okay, I'll admit it. I was wrong about the 2015 sci-fi action-adventure Mad Max Fury Road. I don't know what I was on in 2015, but I was not impressed by this movie. And watching it again 9 years later, I'm just disappointed in myself. How did I overlook the crazy cool car chases, the awesome fight scenes, and the wild explosions? There were so many explosions. Or the magnetic chemistry of the whole cast. And let's not forget how Charlize Theron's character held it down and didn't let her physical challenges deter her. And how could you not appreciate the gorgeous set pieces and production design, the camera angles. Not to mention the adrenaline rush of this movie that is just one non-stop wild ride. What issue did I have with this film back then? And then it dawned on me. I had only seen about 10 minutes of this whole film when it first came out. Whoops. Hot Take Tuesday. The 2019 romantic comedy Last Christmas reminded me that you should never trust a book by its cover. And that includes movies. I thought I was getting your average girl meets boy love story. But Last Christmas tricked me. Our main character, Kate, is having a bit of a rough go at life. And she's kind of selfish. The girl is burning all her bridges. Then she meets Tom. Is he a gorgeous drifter? A serial killer? Who knows? Who cares? I'm ready for my paint-by-numbers love story to start. But what I actually got was a heartwarming tale about a woman struggling to find her way back to herself, her family, and her friends. I didn't sign up for this. Where's my vapid, surface-level, Hallmark archetype storyline? And why is the ending of this movie making me cry so much? Hot Take Tuesday. The 1997 Australian dark comedy, The Castle, reminds us that some things in life are worth fighting for. The movie follows a middle-class family living in Melbourne, Australia, who are just minding their own business, living their lives in their house. That's located right next to an airport. No, like right next to it. Airplanes are literally flying right over their house. Live your life, I guess. Then one day, developers come calling, wanting to buy them out so that they can expand the airport. But the patriarch of the family, Daryl, ain't having that. He refuses, and the real fight begins. He's turning down all the money offers, not caving into threats, and taking them to court, and losing. The developers have money and the government on their side. And our man Daryl here isn't backing down, and neither are his neighbors. Some people just like living next to the airport. Then Daryl gets some unexpected help, and things work out in his favor. This underdog story reminds us to hold on to hope and fight for the things that we love. It's like Daryl said, you can acquire a house, but you can't acquire a home.